So recently, the Army Corps of Engineers had put out a statement saying that they would remove the water protectors, who are the protesters that are encamping there at Standing Rock, so that they wouldn't be on federal land anymore, and they would do it by December 5th. As with almost all these stories, they're originally broken by Jordan Chariton, who is the Young Turks reporter, and you can see all of his videos at youtube.com/TYTpolitics. He's out there now. And then when Jordan kept asking them over and over again, they finally on Sunday said, well, no, okay, we kind of changed our mind and we have, quote, no plans for forcible removal. So apparently it's just a suggestion that they move out by December 5th. Now, I don't know if Governor Dalrymple of North Dakota has seen our reporting and knows that the veterans are coming. So Wes Clark, who's one of the Young Turks hosts, and Michael A. Wood have organized veterans to go out there to Standing Rock and join the protesters. And they are arriving on December 4th and 5th. So, and we'll have a link to their GoFundMe page, and you can find out more about it and join them at the bottom of this video. So, all of a sudden, now that the Army Corps is not going to evict them from federal land, Governor Dalrymple, comes in and says, well, then I'll do it, okay? And he has an excuse. This is funny. There was a snowstorm there, really, in North Dakota. Didn't see that coming. And that's his excuse. He says, winter conditions have the potential to endanger human life, especially when they are exposed to those conditions without proper shelter, dwellings, or sanitation for prolonged periods of time. These persons are ordered to leave the evacuation area immediately and are further ordered not to return to the evacuation area. Now, Governor DAPL here is doing this for your own benefit, water protectors. He doesn't want you to get hurt out there in the winter. He's worried about your conditions. Now, let's read the rest of it and find out if that's true. He says, protesters who call themselves water protectors, who violate the order, quote, do so at their own risk and assume any and all corresponding liabilities for their unlawful presence and occupation of the evacuation area. Wait a minute, I thought you were trying to protect them. Now all of a sudden you turn around, and if you do not follow my evacuation orders, anything that happens to you will be because of your own liability. Where did the protection go? All of a sudden, you don't seem that concerned about their well-being. Who are we kidding? You work for the corporation, Governor Dalrymple. Everybody knows that. And we know who you represent and don't represent. And when the corporation wanted to run the pipeline by Bismarck, you're like, no, good white folks live there. Did I say that out loud? Well, of course it could spill. We don't want it to spill near us. Okay, I'm near there. No, you're going to run it by the Native American tribes and their territory. Oh, it's unceded territory because of treaties, rule of law. They're on federal land. I don't care. But you're the governor of the state. You're not the president of the United States. I don't care. I'm going to evacuate them. I work for the corporation. That's why he's Governor DAPL. So he has no concern whatsoever. So can he really do this? The answer is legally, absolutely not. The protesters are on federal land. It's Army Corps land. That's why the Army Corps was talking about, whether they were going to remove them or not, because it's their land. Now, again, there's an argument to be made. It's actually Sioux Nation land. But one thing it isn't is North Dakota land. So it's in the state of North Dakota, but federal land within that. So Kyle Kirchmeier, the Morton County Sheriff, says, well, the Army Corps is basically kicking the can down the road. Yeah, but that's their right. That's their land. But you see, it's not about the law. For the state of North Dakota and their, the heavily militarized police they have there and their bought-off governor, they don't care what the law is. It's not rule of law. Oh, it's not state land? I don't care. I'm going to come in there and crack some heads anyway, and I'm going to pretend that I'm protecting them from the winter. If you were protecting them from the winter, why did you fire water cannons at them in freezing temperatures? Doesn't seem like that would protect them from the winter. What a grotesque liar this man is. Now, what is the Army Corps going to do? The Army Corps has, now this is funny, had encouraged the Sioux and its allies to relocate to a, quote, free speech zone for peaceful protest on the other bank of the Cannonball River, which is more accessible for police, fire, and medical services. So There's three different sets of folks here. They're the water protectors, and they say, look, we're A, trying to protect the river here, which is actually water that we all use. B, it is sacred land for us. In one portion, the cops are standing right on top of a burial site, and it's federal land they have no business being on in the first place, but they don't care. They're like, hey, we have the weapons and you don't. And then ironically, they say, well, the protesters might be causing violence, but there's no evidence of that whatsoever. In fact, there's only one set of people causing violence. That's the state of North Dakota and their heavily militarized police. It's so militarized, so wrong, that when they ask assistance from other states, now other sheriffs in other states' police forces are refusing to go. In one case, Montana was sending in police and turned around and came back home and said, no, we're not going to participate in that. They're not on the right side of the law. So I'm going to give you an example of that in a second. But there's the water protectors, and then, by the way, it's Sioux Nation unceded territory. According to U.S. treaties, it is actually Sioux Nation land. Not only that, the federal government knows that and offered to compensate them for the land because they violated a treaty back in 1944. They offered them $108 million that's still sitting in a bank account, accruing interest. It's now at $1.3 billion. And Sioux Nation, it's not called Standing Rock for no reason. They're standing firm. Sioux Nation said, no thank you to $1.3 billion. That is actually our land. And even the federal government acknowledges that they have a right to that. That's why they offered them the money in the first place. The second of all, it's federal land under the Army Corps of Engineers. And then some of this, by the way, is where they're having the encampment. And some of the unceded territory is where the pipeline has actually been built. And then thirdly, you have the state of North Dakota, who doesn't have any rights in any of this, but is butting in to support Governor DAPL's donors. Okay, so our reporter Jordan Chariton's on the scene, and you're going to see we do reporting a little differently. CNN and other places, they're very well reserved, and they don't care about the news. So their news actors come out and go, okay, I shall remain neutral here. Oh, I see one side being fired upon, and I see the other side praying. I'm going to call it even. Well, that's not how we roll. We're actually objective. Yes, we care about the news, but we have eyes, and we can see who's right and who's wrong because we're on the scene. So here's Jordan Chariton on the scene.
We're crossing the bridge here to get over to this side of the water. Hundreds of peaceful water protectors, unarmed, are over there, and the police are claiming that they are being aggressive, even though the water protectors are nowhere near the police. The police have rubber bullet guns. They have freezing water they've already been spraying, and they have pepper spray and tear gas. And we're going to cross to see what the water protectors over here, what they're doing. They're praying, unarmed, peaceful. The police up there are literally standing on their ancestors' burial grounds. They've been doing this for weeks. They're also on Army Corps land, which they're not supposed to be on.
So another news item today is that they're going to ban drones from flying in the area because they're annoying the North Dakota government by showing the truth. So they don't like us being there either. And now other journalists have been imprisoned. One of our camera guys, just 4 feet from him was another guy who got shot with a rubber bullet, barely missed him, right? So they don't like any of that because there's our camera showing the protesters are perfectly peaceful. North Dakota wants to put out statements paid for by DAPL that say that they're not peaceful. But we got cameras there, and we can see with our own eyes that they are in fact peaceful. And you are in fact standing on burial ground. So now Jordan is going to ask them about that. Now he's going to have to shout because they won't send their spokesperson down there to talk to people in a civil way. So they're going to shout back at him with a megaphone. This is going to be interesting. Let's watch.
Officers, I'm a journalist. You have unarmed people here nowhere near you, but you're claiming they are being aggressive. You're standing on where their ancestors are buried. You're on Army Corps land, which is against the law. Can you tell me how they're being aggressive towards you? That none of them have guns. All they have are prayer, signs, and all they have is themselves. You are the ones with guns. You are the ones with tear gas. Those are chemical weapons. No, you are standing where their ancestors buried. How would you like it? How would you like it if they were standing where your grandmother is buried? There is no compromise. You are on Army Corps land. You're not supposed to be on Army Corps land.
YouTube.com/TYT Politics. They don't like to hear that, but Jordan's right on the law. They're not supposed to be there. That isn't North Dakota land. That's Army Corps land. So I don't know what they're doing there, but it certainly ain't the rule of law. I thought for a second there Jordan was going to shout, "Let my people go!" Standing Rock. Go stand with them, man. So when we see injustice, we point it out and we share it with you guys. And it's up to us as the American people to do something about it. Go get them, Young Turks. At the Young Turks, we believe in change. We believe we can change the media, make it more independent. Come do it with us. TYTnetwork.com/join.